It's just they're just playing their games. You know, I was talking to a cop down in Virginia, and he's like, "Look, I don't know what's going on." He's like, "I hope everybody bought a lot of ammo." You know, so like something may be happening, and he's like, "I wish I didn't become a cop." I'm like, "Look, you're a human being first. You know, you get to choose
Right.
what you have to do. So, you know, I mean, if you're for the people, then you won't come after us. You know, you just do your job, but you're a human being first. You know, you're not my enemy
Yeah.
unless I don't have insurance in my car and you're following me. You know, otherwise,
Well, what's different about this one? The line is clearly being drawn out. You're either on one side or the other. There's no in between on this shit.
Yes and no. They're trying to make it so you can't tell. They would have you think that anybody of color is for them, and that's to me that's where the line gets a little more gray, and it's hard to tell. But
so what are they wanting? A racial
I
war?
think that's what they
I,
Well,
want.
I,
that's
That's
what the
exactly
Bible
what
says
they've
is
been
going to
trying to
happen.
do. That's exactly what they've
Bible
been trying
says
to
the
do.
nations against nation. And
I
if
don't
you
want
know
a
what the word
racial.
Hebrew is,
I don't want a
The truth
racial war
is,
because being
there are not
you're.
just
I
white
mean,
people on our
I'm
side.
white. Okay, I'm sorry. Somebody's talking over me. I
Well,
mean,
I
I'm
just
white. It's okay, sir. You know, I'm white, but I don't want a racial war. You know, I don't have a problem with somebody that's because of the color of their skin. I may have a problem with you because of your actions, but your color of your skin is no bearing. You know, in my opinion. You know, I
people of
can't speak
color
for every.
who are on
well,
the Republican side or the old Republican side, the conservative side of things, are afraid to speak out because of the way the left is. They don't want to be Uncle Toms and going against their race and all this shit. I'm not saying they won't fight with us, but that's what you've got going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody until they come after me. You know, and it's just, you know, I don't know. I mean,
I agree. I am. I'm.
I got a lot of black friends. I mean, I don't date black women personally because I'm not attracted to it. But I'm not going to say what's right and what's wrong there either. You know, I mean, uh, you know, there was a time when I was like 14 years old where where I dated a black girl, but there was more flack that I just stopped believing in it. I stopped believing that it was going to be accepted. You know, but so I don't know. That's a personal choice, though.
So, can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
We hear you.
Okay. So I'm white. I'm not prejudiced. I love everybody, and till you fuck me over. But I have five daughters. Three of them have turned libtard. School system, I don't understand. And they were going to the BLM rallies and they were doing all this. And I'm like, stand up for what you believe in. That's awesome. But what this turns into a racial war, they're not going to stop and say, hey, you're a young white girl. What side are you on? They're just going to shoot you because of the color of skin. And that's
They've
what we're
already
coming
done
to.
that.
Or
They've
rape
already
you.
done that in the riots too. They turn against the white people in the riot.
Or rape you. I mean, like, but that's just bad character. That's not a matter of race. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can't blame the color of their skin for their actions as a human being. You know, I mean, if you're ignorant and you think that way, then that's the kind of stuff I'm prejudiced against. You know, like if you date a white woman just because she's a prize and you're taking her away from the white man, then yeah, that's fucked up. You know, but if you truly love her and treat her with respect and dignity, then all all the power to you. You know, or vice versa.
I
You know,
second that.
you know, but. Me personally, I'm not attracted to black women. There have been black women that I find sexy, but as on a majority, honestly, I don't. You know.
Now, if a black person were to say that in the media, they would understand. But Lord knows us white dudes get in the media and say something like that, and we aren't racist, then they'll want our heads.
I just don't necessarily find them all attractive.
I
You
think
know.
black men are sexy as hell, but
That's
I'm
your
with a
personal
white guy.
preference, and we're cool with that.
Yep. Yep, but I'm with a white guy. My guy's a
Well,
Colt 4. He's a
and see
300
that.
pound redneck trucker.
All right. So flip that. Now, what if you were dated a black guy but refused to be with a white guy simply because he's white? Like that
That's
ain't right.
racist.
That's racist. You know. So, like, your choice is your choice.
True
Like, I really don't
racism.
have a I don't have a problem with somebody that's gonna date a black guy. But if you're simply gonna reject me because of the color of my skin, and you're white, like, that's fucked up, man. You know.
That's some self-hating stuff that no one's ever going to understand.
You know. It's just like that whole argument about fucking penis size, man. You might have a bigger dick, you might not. You know. I don't know. I don't care. You know. Oh man.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
You're on.
Oh, hi, mate. Yeah, no, I've just been listening to you the last like 5 minutes or so. It's very interesting. So, do you think that this innate tribalism can be overcome from the black community and the other, like, minority, should we say, groups in America?
That's tough. At this point, I don't know what's going to open their eyes to the lies that the left are telling them.
But what if they're not lies? What if it's just tribalism?
It's lies. It's the same thing.
But tribalism is real, right?
I don't
That,
understand what
It's
tribalism is,
real,
so
but
you
Well,
need to
tribalism
explain
is
that.
you'd always
perpetuated
stick
by
up for your own
lies.
in group, right? Your own in group. So like Jewish people would stick up for Jewish people, black people would stick up for black people, white people should stick up for white people, but we don't. Um, Things like drummed into the education system, like white supremacy or white privilege and stuff like
Thank you.
that. We're lambasted with day on day. I mean, you see it in the media every day. There's an attack on white people nowadays. This never happened 10 years ago. It's
Um,
just like, but you see what I mean? Like, there's this glorification of
I
anything
do
that isn't
understand.
white.
I do understand what you mean, and
Yeah.
honestly, there's only one race, and that's human. So we either stick
No,
up.
there's many different races, but we're all from like the human genus, basically.
We're
Yeah.
all human, man. We all come from one.
Yeah, but there are different races, and we're not all the same. We all differ. There's like 38 different markers for like different racial groups between us. Like arm length for one of them. Black people have longer arms. Did you know that?
And an extra bone in their foot, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like we're not all the same. We're
Black
not.
people are black people are an evolution. It's just an evolution. It's not separate. There was only two
But
to
then, how did
begin
we
with.
all come from Africa? If we all came out of Africa,
We
right? And we
we
believe this
didn't all come.
bullshit theory.
I
I don't
don't
believe
believe
that.
we all came from Africa.
Okay, in fact, fair enough. I'm in agreement with you. Yeah, I don't think we did. Um, but there's so many different genetic markers other than skin color that separates the different races. So how are we all the same? Maybe we
We
should
all
start
came.
treating people.
Listen, there was Adam and there was Eve, and then you had the descendants of them, and then they spread
Yeah,
throughout the world, and they multiplied.
Right,
You
and
know,
they've
and
tried to
different
scientifically
climates
prove Adam and
cause
Eve came from Africa.
changes. What's that? I don't care where they came from. I don't know where. I, you know, I don't know where they came from, but the color of the skin has to do with the climate and the environment that they lived in. And
right.
it was a genetic change. I mean, that comes down to science, and that's been proven. You know,
How come black people don't change color when they live in cold climates then?
well, it's already in their genetic makeup. It's
So
just like this virus is evolving. They evolved.
what virus? This COVID.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
Why?
You know what I'm saying, though. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
they evolved, but we all come from one. You know, just we evolved. You know, we've gotten taller. You know, I mean, But the Bible tells me that we're
there's
all
adaptation,
one.
isn't there? There's adaptation, and then there's this thing called evolution. I mean, we're going down the whole is evolutionary, is evolution real kind of thing.
Okay, so there's only one race. There's human beings. You know,
So
and
we are from the same. Yeah, we can breed with
There's
each
one
other.
species. There's one species, but there are
Yeah,
many different races, is what he's
exactly.
saying.
if
We
you
can
want to
breed with each other
classify it
now.
down to races,
Okay, but
if
if
you
we
want to,
keep adapting in our current, adapting to our current climates and nothing changes over time, black people and white people won't be able to breed together. That's how evolution. That's how the split works. Like with lizards, you see it. They'll split, and then sooner or later, down the end of the tree, they can't breed with each other anymore. We could do that now because yes, we are like we're kind of like similar enough, but mixed race babies actually have a lot of problems. Like if you would try to like give them a blood transfusion from either parent, it would fail. It would kill them.
I've never heard that. No, you're making that shit up.
No.
I,
Seriously, go
I,
check out
I
bone
don't.
marrow transplants between
I've
mixed race
heard
kids
that
and their
before.
parents. It's
Sir, you're too
way
smart
worse.
for me. I really couldn't answer any of that question.
Sorry.
Like that's too intellectual. I mean, just keep it simple, man. The enemy of you
Oh,
is
I
the
am
guy
keeping
that's
it
coming.
simple. I mean, I'm not using any big words here. I hate
No,
using
you're
big words.
you're smart. You're smart. I can tell just by the way you talk.
Yeah.
And so it's not an insult,
Yeah.
when I say that. I'm not educated like that,
Uh-huh.
so keep it simple. As far as a war and them keeping, look, my enemy is the guy that's coming after me.
Hmm.
Period. I
Yeah.
don't care what your ethnicality is. You know.
So you believe it's down to an ideological divide then, rather than an ethnic divide or a racial divide? Yeah, all we're seeing in the media is literally like race baiting constantly. So
Yes,
it's
and
not going
you
to
know
be
what?
an
That's been
ideological
going on
divide.
since the beginning of time, man.
Hey,
You
Rumble
know.
just said Trump speaks to the media for the first time in days. The media is going to want to see this.
When?
When's this?
I'm just reading it now. It's on Rumble.
When's he gonna speak? Because he was supposed to speak all day yesterday, and they postponed it twice and then canceled it.
I'm going there now.
I mean, I don't know what you guys think about Trump throwing everyone in that protest under the bus. Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's despicable. I haven't liked Trump since he fucking banned bump stocks. He hasn't done a thing for us.
Yeah, exactly. I would have thought that as well. Like, over the 4 years, what has he actually done for Americans other than, I don't know, increase,
Are
unemployment for everyone else
are
outside of
you
America?
are you talking about Trump? You think that he did that?
What do you mean? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I get the idea that America isn't ruled by one man. It's not a dictatorship. But yeah, there's he's normally go to the leader to pin it on them, don't you? So it's his
Do you think that?
presidency.
Do you think Trump is against the American people and that
Uh,
he hasn't done nothing? Because
he's
I'd
done
like
more
to
for
think
Israel. He's done more for
I,
Israel than he has America.
No,
that's
he's
not
done a
true.
lot for America. He increased, you just said he decreased unemployment. He increased unemployment. You know who decreased unemployment? This stupid fake coronavirus bullshit. Virus is real, it's a shandemic. That's what fucked up our unemployment. Trump had unemployment rates way below what they ever were
Oh no,
before.
that's what I said. Sorry, no, he did. He didn't increase unemployment. Yeah,
Yeah, he's done
sorry.
a lot for America. He's really done a lot.
But who's he done it for? Like,
He's done a lot for us. He's done one of the biggest peace treaties that they thought would never could be done across, what was it, 5 nations, if I'm correct. He's
yeah.
done so much for the country.
But I
He's the
mean, is
best
North
president, in
Korea
my
a real
opinion, that we've
threat to
ever had.
America?
Here lately, I think he's
Absolutely.
just doing stuff to
100%.
appease them.
100, and a peace treaty is never a bad thing. And the peace treaty wasn't just North Korea and us; it was North Korea and other nations,
Yeah,
which
of course.
helps us eventually. If the many more allies we can have, the better.
But, yeah, of course. I mean, you wouldn't
And
need
he's not putting
stationed in
up
South
with
Korea, right?
China's bullshit. He's the only president that isn't going in there and doing shit for his own, to line his own pockets. He's already rich. What are they gonna do? Everybody else goes in with their own agenda and to get rich off the system. He's the only one that's gone in there and given up his paycheck and given up his money because he
Mhm.
actually gives a shit about our country.
Yeah.
All Biden wants to do is line his damn pockets and his family, and he's proven it. He's
I don't
proven
think
it.
I don't think Biden knows what the fuck he wants to do. I think he's a fucking corpse. But
I hate that man. And the thing
the
is
reanimated corpse.
you can't impeach him because Ho the Harris is even fucking worse. She's more of a communist than Biden is. At least Sleepy Joe's got some dignity left in him. Not sure
Well,
how
I mean,
much,
I think
but
that's
he's
the
got
whole
enough.
plan, isn't it? He's
He's
going to drop dead sooner or later, and
Spot
you know,
on,
you're going to
Tina.
have Commissar
he'll be
Harris in there, won't
suicided.
you?
He'll be suicided, or he will, or they'll do the 25th Amendment and get Harris in there, and at least Joe Biden might kind of keep her in check a little bit being president. And I don't want either of them in there.
Thank you, Tina.
It's dark times ahead, man. Dark time.
Fraser, you sound
Yeah.
like you're a very intelligent person. Just because you may not be for Trump, you gotta
Oh
hear
no,
all sides
I
of the
think
story.
both. I'm not for Biden either. I think that both. I just don't think Trump is this savior figure for America.
He's
I think
not a
he.
savior. He's trying to get rid of the corruption in America.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
You
He
know?
hasn't drained the swamp, though, has he? There's plenty of like
No,
swamp
but he's
just around.
exposed. He may not have drained it, but he's exposed it.
Oh, of course. No, I agree. He definitely
You
did that. I mean,
know,
it's all clear for all to see now. But
that's not an easy task for him to do that. And I mean, and the media has never had a good thing to say about him ever.
I know.
The mainstream media,
No,
you
because
know.
he wasn't meant to win, was he? He wasn't
It's
meant to
dangerous
win.
because everybody wants
Well,
to
he
go
was
back
meant
to
to win the
July.
first one. They just didn't think it would happen.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, but they've never been for him. They don't want the swamp drained because they are the swamp. You know, and it's a lot of money that's backing them.
Hmm.
You know,
Of
I
course.
mean,
A
they're
lot of money.
lining their
Follow the
pockets,
money.
man.
Follow the money. Where does it lead? Which billionaires are funding it? Both sides as well.
Trump doesn't take a paycheck. He doesn't take a paycheck, man. He's doing this for the people. That's why
Uh-huh.
people voted for him. You know, look, he's not a perfect human being, and he's definitely not a politician.
Uh-huh.
You know, but that's exactly what we need. You know, and everything that he's been allowed to do,
Yeah.
he's done to help us. I mean, you know, Congress won't pass certain things, but he's done a lot. He ended the war. He's pulling back our troops. You know, it took a while.
Are the
But
troops back yet,
it's been
or is Biden just gonna like hand wave that
well,
back to?
he probably will. He's trying to end the Iranian deal, the nuclear war. Well, I mean, I don't know politics that great, but he's trying to reenact the Iranian deal. You
Hmm.
know, Iran does not need nuclear weapons, man. They've been a threat. They're a
Well,
threat to everybody.
I mean, they're a threat to a certain country in the Middle East. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that they're a threat to everyone. What is that impression? Is it because they threaten Israel that they're a
Yes.
threat to everyone?
Don't threat any country that's close to them. That's
No,
a
that's
threat.
not actually true here
No,
because
I didn't see
look,
Iran bombing like Afghanistan with nukes to you. It's like,
it's
I mean,
fair to
those
say that
countries
the
have been at
people of
war.
Iran are kind of surrounded by American troops. Look, here's the deal. Like, if you have a foreign military just around you and they're already hostile to you, like I would be paranoid as well as the government, like of Iran. But
yeah.
honestly, they're not a problem if America wasn't like very threatening to them. They just need to like kind of just leave the area, and they already live in Afghanistan. But
I agree. I agree. The U.S.
I mean,
shouldn't be
no.
interfering in foreign countries, unless
Exactly.
those foreign countries are possibly a future threat on mankind. You know.
But what is a future threat? What? That could be anyone. Like, who's a future threat, depending to what criteria?
see, I believe that Afghanistan was probably never a threat to begin with. I think the war was
Iraq.
just enticed. Iraq and Afghanistan. The war was just enticed by the fact that they had a lot of oil deposits, and
Nah, that's bullshit. That's
I don't
bullshit.
know, man.
I don't
I don't
believe
know.
that bullshit.
I don't
I
know.
don't think if it was just oil, then they could have done it any other way. But nah, this was
Nah,
about.
I mean, look, it's taking control of privatized oil fields. They weren't. They were state-owned here. They weren't owned by companies. And now
But
BP and
it was
other
essentially a
big
lie to get into
oligarchs are
war.
controlling them. See, you know.
Well, I mean, you can look into the Greater Israel Project, and that might actually wake you up to some of the kind of things that are going on in the Middle East and why Iran is so paranoid. Which I get what you're saying there, Ali. And they have a
Hello?
right to be, if they've seen what's happened in Iraq, that could happen to them. I mean, we all know that like Saudi Arabia and Israel are like buddy buddy. Like the monarchy in Saudi Arabia is actually like really like best buds with the Israelis, and yeah, it was just basically like the Saudis wanted to get rid of the competition with Iraq, with Saddam, and yeah, so don't believe everything you hear on the news about Saudi Arabia hates Israel. They don't hate them.
Well,
They're very close
I
allies.
can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, mate.
Okay. I didn't know if you could hear me before. It's just the war's got to end. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Those wars over in those countries have been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, man. And what's it got in you? You know,
Well, yeah. That's what I was
it's
saying
got to
earlier.
it's got
Tribalism. They're
enough.
gonna fight anyway, right? It's not our
It.
problem, right?
Well, yeah, we need to pull out.
Yeah.
You know, we've maintained peace there for a little while, but at some point, those countries need to stand on their own.
Mm.
You know, uh, um, and I feel bad for the people that live in those countries. Because listen, man, if you're a civilian and you're not in the military, and you're just losing family members and loved ones, man. We don't want
What?
that.
Exactly. What are you fighting for? What? How does that benefit like America? Like you've got your own oil reserve. You're using that, right? You don't need any of this stuff. It's just. But then you have to ask who else is it benefiting in the region. There's only one.
Well,
Only one
think
country
about it
that's
like
benefiting.
this: American soldiers are dying to try to defend another country
Yeah.
and to prevent you guys from killing each other. You know?
Yeah, and that's why I think that like most Americans should look into the Greater Israel Project, like, and then this will make more sense in the region why certain things are happening there,
Well, I think a
especially in
lot of
Iraq
it's.
and stuff like that.
I think it's a lot of religious war. I don't know, man. I mean, I have friends that are
Yeah, well,
Muslim
yeah, mate. Just
that
go
are
on
from.
BitChute and type in the Greater Israel Project. You'll. It's fascinating. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's what's happening with Syria as well. Like, so yeah, it's all there in the. I think it's not it's not Agenda 21, is it? No, it's something else. Oh, Project for a New American Century. That's it. That's the book. Yeah.
Right. I think it has to do with the control of power. I think it has a lot to
Yeah.
do with control of the oil. You know, I mean, look, Americans ain't all saints either. I mean,
No.
we wanted to control the oil too, but listen, you're talking about government versus civilians. You
Mm.
know what I mean? I don't like any government.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of
Are you a
Chinese.
libertarian then? Are you a libertarian? You want small government and
Um, I don't like the government. The government don't think about the people. You know,
yeah,
they
I would
don't.
say that
They
because the
do. They
government's been
do to an.
occupied by people who don't care about the people, and this again goes back to
I
like what
wouldn't.
I said.
I like the Libertarian Party, but you know they have a little bit of the perspective of the Democrats, but they also have some of the perspective of the Republicans. You know, and I'm okay with that. I can deal with that. But there's absolutely nothing about the Democratic Party that I believe in. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
You know,
Right. Okay.
they have none of my values and my morals or my beliefs. None of them.
Shit.
You know.
Okay,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry to interrupt, but the emergency broadcast thing they were talking about for the whole blackouts, well, I found out that it's not involving a phone, it's involving TV because I just got one.
okay.
And it's basically
Wow.
listed all the counties that are going to be blacked out.
What? Really? Is this anywhere on the, like, any news site you can, like...
No, it's just a random emergency broadcasting that happens on television.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that, love. I know that. It's just, like, is there any way... Is this, like, official, or...
To be honest, it's hard to know if it's official, but I'm going to assume it's official because we were having trouble with internet earlier, and so they're attacking the internet. Actually, it's a blackout on the internet
Yeah.
because my sister's devices had a hard time connecting on the internet, and the internet was acting funny today. So I kind of wish I could have took a picture of that.
What?
Was it only a short burst, then? Or...
Yeah, it was really hard to tell because I guess what they're using isn't that great. But if you could hear, they were listing all the details. But you have to
Okay.
wait; it's random.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So they're doing something clever and actually using the old classic TVs. But you're gonna have to hunt for it. Mine just kind of happened 5 minutes ago, and
Okay.
right now it's 11. It was 11:20, but now it's 11:28.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in the UK, so I don't think I'm going to get an emergency broadcast. So,
Right.
yeah, so I don't think I could do that. But that's what I was
So
asking. If there's anything...
what's happening in the UK right now? Is there any real
well,
heavy political stuff happening?
we've got the COVID stuff. Basically, I think the COVID stuff, they're going to fucking starve us. We've got problems with the Brexit thing going on. Like, food's going to be, like,
More
hard to
expensive.
come by soon because of the red tape, suppose. They're calling it the red tape of Brexit. I don't know if this is a way to force us back into the EU. I don't know if you ever, like, looked into much of what's happening between Britain, like, leaving the EU and everything, but
I've
with
got a
this
question.
COVID thing, supposedly we've got this red tape now with Brexit, and it's just going to make deliveries from the continent harder from France by Calais. So we're going to have food shortages maybe soon, like they're saying in the papers.
Fraser, are you
Uh-huh.
a libertarian yourself?
Oh, I'm not a libertarian, mate. No, I'm an ethno-nationalist.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I want to say something about the Afghanistan war, which we were talking about earlier.
Yes, sir.
There
Yeah.
was a Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in the 80s, and by that
the
time,
Soviets got
a
their
lot
ass
of
kicked.
yeah. But the problem is, Americans were supplying the Mujahideen, which were a religious group of like insurgents against the Soviets,
Yeah.
because it was essentially a proxy war, just like Vietnam was for Americans, right?
Yes,
And the problem is that those guns, they are still used by forces like ISIS now, and even in the Afghanistan war in the 90s, the administrations, they just, like Bill Clinton, they just left the Humvees, they just left the cars, they just left the guns there because it was more expensive to like destroy them or like take them back to
move them
America.
back.
And those caches got eventually just taken over by ISIS, and now they're using them in Syria. See, the problem is that America's interference goes a long way back. Not even goes even to like 1980s. It's not something that's just now, and it's not something that if were to stop happening, it would like stop completely because those guns are still there. AKs from like 30, 40
understand.
years ago, M4s, same thing.
Yeah. Are you in Syria then?
Okay,
Ali?
so
No, I am not Syrian,
Okay.
but I know what's happening. See,
I
I
like
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
the
I
news.
mean, if you go and look into like the Syria thing, you know everyone knows about the white helmets, don't they? How the white helmets were like used as again, like you were saying, a proxy in this this civil war in Syria.
It's less about. I think Russia's interference is a lot bigger than like
Oh
America's.
no, Russia's been helping Syria, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I know. Assad regime, yes.
Yeah, and but the thing is, like what you were saying is interesting there because the white helmets were believed to be actually like ISIS, like undercover ISIS, the white helmets. I mean, and funny thing is that actually, like, I think they were injured. There was a group of like these white helmets that got injured, and then the Israelis took them in and like gave them medical attention, which is kind of odd. So it's kind of like
Yes, it
ISIS.
goes
Are
back
they
to the
fighting?
Greater Israel theory. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very possible. It's kind of like Israel is like a bit of a American colony or something you could say. I mean,
Nah, it's not really a colony.
not
It's
not
like
yeah, not colony, but like you know what I mean. It's kind of
it's an occupied territory, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, yeah, it is.
by
I
you
mean,
know,
if you just look for the things that they're doing to the well,
Palestinians.
native population of
Mhm.
Palestinians, you'll see that some not good stuff happen, and they use American-made guns. American sold
Oh
them to
yeah,
them. Same with Saudi Arabia. You know the war in I think it's Yemen. Am I right?
yeah, Yemen, yeah.
Yeah, and those are American use guns against civilians. You know that's what they're
Oh
doing.
yeah. Well, I mean, when
But
it
as
comes to
long as
like,
there's oil in the equation, America doesn't really care because there is money to be had, even on the behalf of like normal people.
again, we're thinking about this like it's the government sort of thing. Like government is this sovereign
Our
entity that does
government,
its
yes,
own
our
thing and
government.
thinks it's not. It's people that do the thinking.
You're
It's
right.
not. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It's our government. All governments run. They make decisions that affect everybody that we don't have a say in.
Yes,
You
obviously, I
know.
don't mean American people
I
because I don't think they're for the war, but like,
exactly. And you know what?
yes,
Like the same thing that's going on in China.
Hmm.
It's a communist country. I know people in China that live there, and they have to do what they're told.
there's a social credit system. If you like jaywalk across the street, you could possibly like not be able to have a bank account or something. It's kind of scary, don't you think?
Well,
Everything in China, all their businesses, it's all controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. You
oh, and they'd
know,
love to bring that here. They'd love to
Look,
bring that here.
Exactly,
that's
that's
what
the
they're
case.
trying to bring to the U.S. You
Yeah.
know, and we're not going to allow it.
Well, look at what happened to Trump. He's been he's depersoned. His Deutsche Bank have shut his accounts and everything. It's like
Yeah, but look, Trump doesn't control the U.S.
I know.
The citizens.
But that's what I mean. Like this is
You
it.
know?
Like all these private companies can do this, and they're all singing to the same hymn sheet. You've got to wonder. Is
And
that
you know,
like,
if you deplatform the president of the United States, there is power to be had. If people like say, "Well, it's a private company; they can do whatever they want." I mean, look, there are deplatforming the president of the United States it just shows how much power they have.
yeah.
That's why all those Silicon Valley corporations they are not to be trusted because they just steal your data. You shouldn't have those accounts, and I don't use their accounts, and if I have to like Twitter, I just don't use my real name because it's just not trustworthy now. The companies are not working for you; they work for money and they work against your life.
Absolutely. You know, but America won't stand for it. I guarantee you. The people, the citizens, will not stand for it for too long. When we get enough, we're just gonna do what we gotta do. You
See,
know?
I want to believe that, but like there are a lot of Democrats that are just pawns of they don't know, or maybe they know, but like they just support it just to spite the people of America, the actual patriots. You see Antifa, their ideology is like anarcho-communism or something very dumb like that. They're just pawns of the communists. That's what it is. You think they would like just any
Antifa's a joke. Antifa's a joke, man. It's just
Exactly,
like
yeah, that's what
ISIS.
I'm saying.
They're a bunch of little punks that are gonna get smacked in the mouth really hard, and they're gonna go running home to mom.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, look.
We're not worried about them, to be honest. We don't care.
Yes,
you
but
know?
like you need to
Pretty
understand
much
that
all
they're.
you guys do is worry about Antifa.
I mean, yeah,
What's that? I'm not
I said
worried
pretty
about
much
Antifa.
all you guys do is worry about Antifa. That's all you ever talk about.
No, we confront them. We confront them because they're in our face right now.
Honestly,
But ain't nobody scared of them.
I think it's
Ain't
the
nobody
opposite.
scared
I
of them.
think Antifa's worried about us because if they smack us too many fucking times, when we do bite back, we're not going to just bite back. We're going to rip
We
your
whip
fucking
their
head
ass
off.
every time we confront them. Every time the
That's
Proud
right.
Boys face them, they get their ass handed to them. Every time.
Oh, the media just say that they're white
It's just a,
supremacists,
it's
fascist Nazis. That's not true. See, it's multiracial. It's just American patriots. Antifa members are just millennials that are like very. They are very disenfranchised. They just got raised by the
well,
internet.
they want to start a fight, but they ain't willing to finish it, and they attack innocent people that are doing nothing.
Yes,
You know,
they say that like yeah they're
it's
anti-fascist.
just
Their
that
name means anti-fascist, and that's like yeah. So the Nazi government in Germany in 1940s was also called National Socialist, but like they doesn't mean that we're not socialist. They're just fascist. See, the problem with Antifa in general is that they're just kids. They don't know better.
exactly, exactly, and that's what I mean when they start a fight with us and they get hit by a full-grown man, they go running home to mommy. You know, we're not worried about them. They're kids. They don't know any better. You know,
There's a time when we don't have to be law-abiding citizens.
that's right. That's right. You know, look, man, nobody's worried about Antifa. Not really. You know, the Proud Boys say fuck Antifa. I agree. I ain't worried about them. You know, they're nobody. You know, and 2 years from now, they ain't even gonna exist.
That's true.
You know, just like that group, just like that black group that was saying they're gonna go around killing everybody. Where the fuck are they now? 2 months ago, they were all over the damn place. They're gone. You know, it's like a rap star, man. Gone here 1 minute and gone the next. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't worried about them.
I mean, anti-fascism has been around as long as fascism has. I
I
mean, read about
understand
the
that,
Battle
but
of Cable Street. That was like 100 years ago, more than that.
well, anti-fascism maybe, but Antifa just popped up out of nowhere. Fuck them. They ain't nobody. You know, they're nobody. They're a bunch of kids that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. It still hasn't popped out of their butt. You know, their heads haven't popped out of their ass yet. You know, they're nobody. There's nothing to. I was 19-year-old at one time too, and I was a punk. But you know what I mean? Until I fucking woke up. You know, they haven't experienced enough life, and they're fighting for a cause they don't even really understand. You know, I appreciate what I've heard so far today. There's a lot about uh, foreign policy and things that are happening in other countries I don't fully understand. You know, Frazier and Elias, thank you. They're gone. Anybody on here still?
Yeah,
I'm here.
I'm still listening.
Right on. Yeah, they're kids, man. They don't know nothing yet. You know, gangs come and go all the time. But you don't hear nothing about Bloods and Crips anymore. You know,
True that.
you don't hear anything about who's that other one? BLM. You don't hear nothing about them anymore. They come and go all the time, man. You know,
Yep, exactly.
so I'm not worried about those guys, man. Just right now we got to deal with our politicians and what's going to happen here in the U.S. in the future. You know,
Exactly.
so
Antifa's the least of our worries.
they're a pawn. They're just being used. You know, the government will kick them to the curb too, and as soon as they're done
Oh,
and
I
they meet
agree
their
with you there,
agenda.
man. Yeah. I mean, people like liberals are fucking fools if they think any of this like counterinsurgency stuff by the state or the censorship by tech companies and the media isn't going to come and bite the left in the ass.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
it ain't gonna last.
Yeah.
It's
That's
just
true.
like you had those Antifa that were occupying that park until they served their purpose, and they went in there and they kicked them all out. You know, and they're having faith and think that they don't realize that they're just being used by the left. You know what I mean? They're just being used, and then when they're done with them, they're gonna kick them to the curb. They ain't
Yep.
gonna back them, and they're gonna have ruined their life to where they're just gonna ruin their life all the way around. You know, you know, and the best thing we can do is try to make them understand it. But if we can't do it, it's on them. You know, the last resort is for us to have to fight.
How do you
You
think you
know,
can make them understand?
well, you talk to them.
Well,
You
yeah.
know, if there's some like we're on this site, I'm sure that there's probably an Antifa member on here listening in. You know, I'm sure there is. They may not say nothing, but they're sitting in the background.
Oh yeah, I'm almost positive.
You know, they're not my enemy. Until they come after me or my family, they are not my enemy. Same with a Black Lives Matter, man. They're not my enemy until they attack me. Then I'm gonna fucking do what I gotta do. I'm 50 years old. I ain't gonna play no games. You know, I don't want to hurt nobody, but I won't hesitate. You know, but that's the very last resort. As a Christian, you know, as a citizen, that's my very last resort.
Yep,
You know what I mean? Like
I agree.
I
you
think
know,
pretty much everyone on all sides just wants to be left the fuck alone, you know?
well, it's hard to be
Yeah.
left alone when you're attacking somebody. You know, if a Trump protester is out there and they're walking home alone, and somebody comes up and hits you from behind, you know, they're defending themselves. You know, they have the right to believe in what they believe in and who they believe in. You know, we support Trump. It's not we support him because we believe in him. We believe that he's working for us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and you don't have to agree with us, but don't attack us based on our belief of it. You know,
See, they believe in something. They are very Marxist in their thinking. They believe in like communism is about class, right? So like there's working class, there's like the 1%, so they call them. Instead, they believe in something that white people are inherently privileged, so they need to
get
say,
the fuck out of here, man. I'm white and I come from the projects, man, of
yeah,
Philadelphia.
exactly. But like they believe in that. That's why they're going after Trump supporters, because most of them are in fact white. That's why they think they're fascist, white supremacists, all these slanderous, things. They're calling them. That's why they always say that the Proud Boys are such white supremacist KKK members or something stupid like that. In fact, when they're in fact multiracial,
Well, exactly. They're running off of false information. They don't know what the Proud Boys really stand
or
for.
they really do know, but they just want to further their own agenda.
Right, right.
Republican
I
Party
agree.
is the one that set up slavery and everything. And when you sit down and actually have a logical conversation with these BLM people, they are dumbfounded when they actually do their research and find out the Democrat Party is the one that set up slavery and the Republican Party is the one that fought for their freedom.
Right.
So that's the problem is you have these idiots out here on the streets that don't want to listen. Did y'all not see what happened in New York? These are our street. Fuck the Proud Boys. This is our street. This is Antifa. They don't care to hear us out. Only few select do. And that's what's starting all this. And that's what's going to
Yep.
continue to cause unrest in these cities until all this rhetoric bullshit's over with and done.
Hey,
You're right. You're right.
I really just wish there was
I was
like
in
a
I was in
space.
the Bronx, New York last night because I drive a truck. I was in the Bronx. Look, it ain't going on like it. We see it on the news, but it's not happening on an everyday basis. For the most part, everybody's just living their life. You know, half of the population in the U.S. don't know what the hell's happening. They don't care. They're too busy to worry about it.
Mm.
To get to your point about like people, on opposite sides like hearing each other out, like I really wish there was like some sort of space where people could come and it would be like talking in good faith, not fucking screaming or beating each other up or
There's
fucking
no
like
good faith.
larping on the fucking streets or hitting each other with flagpoles or
Well,
what the fuck
well,
ever else, and just like hash shit out, because I feel like a
we
lot
just gotta talk.
most people
You're
in this
right.
world just want to be left the fuck alone, and they have a
Right.
lot more in common with people on quote unquote the other
But,
side than
but
they
the
would
thing is,
ever
they
imagine.
don't want to
You know what I
leave
mean?
you alone because they believe they're winning. They believe that they're going to destroy whiteness, aka white people. They won't stop until every white man is either dead. It's like the old saying. They want your kids dead, beaten, raped, and they find it funny.
But that's a very small majority of them.
Really? Well, yeah,
Yeah,
they'll all
it
go
is.
along with it, won't they?
It
They'll just
is.
conform to it.
I don't know if it
Now
is a
they have
small
the echo chamber
majority.
on Twitter.
I mean, we got to race some of it. I mean, the racism has taken. I think it's become less racism for the white people against the black, but it's been
More to
reversed.
white people. Yeah, exactly.
It's been reversed. It's been reversed, and that's because of oppression. We have oppressed them,
Have we?
and they're angry about that. But look, what our ancestors did 300
Yeah.
years ago has nothing to do with me.
Mhm.
I didn't.
But they don't care.
I wasn't. I
How are you
wasn't
gonna how are you
there.
gonna how are you going to stop someone that doesn't care about that? They only care about now, and they think that you're the most evil incarnate there is. What are you
You
going to do? Convince them? How are you
you
going to
show
convince
them
them?
love, man. You show them love.
But they want
That's
your
so.
existence snuffed out. What do you do? Like you can't really do anything about that unless you like tribal up then, and then it then becomes again what I was saying earlier. It leads to tribalism, right? All of this will lead to tribalism.
I mean, it's already happening. Black stick to the fuck
Well, they've
yeah
always done
sticks.
that.
Yeah, but it's always happened. Every kind of human did that.
Yeah.
It's multiculturalism really doesn't work. That's why people are segregating each other like on their own. But
No.
like hate is something that's not actually natural, and that happens regardless of if your community is black, white, Latino, or Asian.
Mm-hmm.
I think communication is the big thing. That's the first. That's where everything needs to start. Right now we're talking. We may not be able to talk the way we're talking now if we are face to face. I don't know. But right now we're listening to each other, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a
The
big
left
step.
controls the
You know,
communication. The left
I mean,
controls the
it's just
social
like
media.
my religious beliefs. If you're a Muslim, it's against, you're not allowed to date me. You're not allowed to have me as a husband. That kind of stuff needs to end. We have the
But
freedom of
why?
religion in the U.S.
Islamic. Not
But why
Muslim,
would they do that?
Islamic.
You have to understand, why would anyone want to do that who is Muslim? Why would they want to end that? They don't want to end that.
Because you love that person for that person, not because of their
It's
But
not
religion.
Muslim, it's
that's
Islamic.
your belief, not theirs. Their
Well,
belief
yeah,
is,
it is
I
because
love
I'm a little
Muslims
more
and Muslims are the
open-minded
best.
I'm a little bit open-minded about God of my understanding today. I'm not going to force that on anybody, but I
But,
don't. Your relationship
just
with
because
God
you
is
won't force it on someone doesn't mean they won't force it on you. Because then it
well.
becomes a power situation, doesn't
I'm
it? Who's
still a single
stronger?
man. I'm still a single man. You know what I mean? Again,
Yeah.
but like my relation
Got
and
kicked out of the Catholic Church
this
because of that.
this doesn't necessarily come down to this comes down to my personal belief. my relation, and it doesn't matter whether it's a man or a woman, or you're talking a relationship like that or not. It comes down to my belief in and my understanding of God is personal. Okay, so if it's personal for me, it's personal for you, and it doesn't need to be a conflict.
But that's never
It's
happened in history.
it's personal though, man. God is who He is,
Yeah, I understand that.
whether I understand Him the same way you do or not.
Absolutely,
It's
I understand that.
personal. My understanding of God comes slowly and evolves over time. The longer I live, the closer I get to Him.
I know that's the Reformation thinking, isn't it? But then again, not everyone thinks like this. Not
That's
everyone.
okay.
Not everyone
That's
thinks that
okay, but their relationship with God comes over time. You know, you can only teach so much. Just because I read the Bible or read the Bible doesn't mean I understood it. Not on a personal level.
But then, how many of these other groups have like read the Bible? Not many.
Whether it's the Bible or the Quran
No, they've
or
read their own
whatever it
text.
is, in the beginning, you don't fully understand. You're just learning. And the more you read, the more you start to understand.
Have you read the Quran or the Talmud or anything like that? Have you read those?
I have because my friends were Muslim from Afghanistan
Yeah. Have you read
here
the
in the
Talmud?
U.S.
Have you read the
I
Talmud?
I have not.
No.
I have read
So,
the Book of Enoch.
being a strong Christian, right? If someone were to say to you, Jesus is boiling in shit and semen, how would you feel about that?
I wouldn't even acknowledge it. There's no argument
Right.
there.
Right. Okay. But
Why even give them the power if that's their outlook on it to begin with?
well, that's the
what
thing.
Jews believe, though.
This is written in the Babylonian Talmud. This is written that Jesus Christ is burning in hell and shit and semen.
Okay.
Saying what I mean, it's where you think that all this love and compassion for like God is great, and I agree with you because I was raised Catholic, right? Other groups might not see that. They may see you as their enemy. They may see Jesus Christ as their enemy, or some part of their own like religious thing, but not as important. They may still see you as the enemy, and this idea that you can just sit there in your own shell and be like, well, as long as I believe this, it's going to be okay. They're just going to see you as weak, and they're going to trample over you.
That's what
Well,
Muslims do.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I mean the
Yeah.
ones I know in Europe. I am from Belgium, so I just want to say.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the debate between Muslim religion and Christian religion or Christianity has been going on since the beginning of time. I mean, so what, man? They're still entitled to believe what they believe. Do I agree with it? No. Because my salvation comes through Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
And Jesus told me how I need to treat other people. Does that mean I'm going to be a little bitch when they come after me? No. Because we may have the shield of God, but I got a sword too.
Right. Okay. So, did Jesus tell you
But I'm
to
not
hate your enemy?
I'm not gonna attack you until you attack me.
Okay, so it's purely defensive on your part. Yeah?
On my part. On my part.
Right.
I might throw a couple rocks at you, but
I have to. It was great talking, but I have to go now. So,
I might
see ya,
try
guys.
to
See ya, man. See ya.
take care, my friend. I might say a couple things that piss you off, and you might want to attack me, but I ain't gonna attack you until you attack.
Right. Okay. Well. Okay.
Hey guys.
Okay. Right.
Hey guys, how
Okay.
you doing? My name's John. I'm from Tennessee. Look, I don't think.
Hi, John.
Hey,
Hi,
how you
John.
doing? I've been listening for a good little second here, and Fraser, have you ever lived in America?
No, mate. No, I'm from the UK, so I don't live in America now.
I can definitely tell because I don't think you really have a good grasp on how it works here. Like I'm from Tennessee, black people, white folk, whatever. We are not as combative as
Oh
with
no,
each
of
other
course not.
as the media kind of makes it out to be.
In
And
certain areas, though, right? It's not always the case, so is it?
no, it's pretty widespread. We're really not that combative with each other like that
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not
at
saying
all.
you are. I'm not saying there's this like innate like thing that's gonna but it's not as everyone wants it to be, right? Like peaceful, come by our kind of stuff, is it? There
No,
are
Man, we're still.
tensions.
it's pretty okay. It's pretty okay. I think that
Yeah.
the media's kind of blowing a lot of it out of proportion. Like where I'm from in Tennessee, and even Mississippi and
Mm.
Arkansas, where I'm from, um, we don't really have any problems
Yeah.
at all.
Right, you don't. But then, what about other areas? Is it just because of your area? You think that's the microcosm makes the macro?
Well, I mean, you could fit England and America about 50 times. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
it's a very huge area, but what I'm saying is the size of where I'm from, there are no problems at all for the most part. Even when
Right.
Black Lives Matter was happening, it wasn't even happening down here because I mean, it
Yeah.
just wasn't combative. Like
Is that
we just
in?
weren't having problems with each other.
Is your area affluent?
Very
Very. Okay. So it's in a rich neighborhood basically.
well. No, I'm in the South. I mean, landowners definitely have a lot of money, but it's a lot of poor people as well.
Right. Okay. But is it a should we say it's a non like poor community that's like been it's not Chicago or Detroit basically as I'm saying, right?
No, Memphis has about 1 million people in there. I mean, no, it's some pretty very rich people and very poor people. I mean, it's a mix up.
Yeah, but it's not like Detroit and Chicago where there's literal
The
black crime is
shootings
off the
and the
scale,
high
right?
crime rate.
Gun shootings, everyone black people killing black people every
Oh shit.
weekend. There's a shootout in Chicago, right?
No,
In
it's like
Detroit,
that. It's like that in Memphis for sure.
right? Okay.
I'm in Tennessee too, and I agree with John. It's been pretty chill out here. I mean, but we got poor people like Appalachia they don't even have electricity, and then we've got country music stars with millions of dollars. So
Yeah,
it's a crazy. I mean, it's got everybody here.
Yeah, it's something everybody here.
yeah. So what is your point then? That I don't understand how it really. What are you trying to imply that I'm trying to say?
That the division that I believe is being perceived at a pretty wide range isn't necessarily the case. I mean, it's not as I'm pretty sure that it's polarized in different areas, but it's
Hmm.
not as bad as a whole as what is being kind of portrayed to the rest of the
Portrayed
world.
on the media.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's being underportrayed in the media.
Georgia.
What would you say to that?
Even the people that don't agree on political or what's going on, what happened in the Capitol BLM, we all still find common grounds to get along with
Oh
one
yeah,
another. I
absolutely,
really do think
absolutely, yeah.
they focus on these bad cities and they want you to believe it's happening everywhere in
It's
America.
not.
I can go to Atlanta right now because I'm not far from it, and I guarantee if I broke down, 5 people would stop to help me because I'm a female, and that's just what people do down here in the South. Yes, you have to watch out for your bad people, but there is more good than there is
That's right.
evil out here in
That's right.
southern states.
I'm up in the New York, Philadelphia area. I'm kind of in between. And it's not happening like it's portrayed on the media. It's very isolated areas, you know.
Mm.
I
What
think
us
it's
being
orchestrated.
what's that?
I think a lot of that chaos, that anarchy, especially in Chicago, ever since I was growing up, I was always told to stay out of that area. But I really do at this point think a lot of this anarchy is orchestrated. I mean, I think it's for TV and I think it's to show the world to make the US a laughing stock. I see that all over. People laugh at
No.
us
Yeah, that's
because
their
there's
whole point. They've been
anarchy
trying
I
to
and
mean,
divide us for
if that was
years.
the case, then why does the same thing happen in places in the African continent, like Zimbabwe or places like that? Why is this still the same kind of crime?
Mm,
Well, it's
mm.
just not happening the way most of us are on here because we're concerned about what happened in the election and
Yeah, of course.
what's going to come to
Oh yeah,
yeah.
be,
that's what I'm worried
you
about as
know.
well. I don't want to see
But
America like even for like the black community in America. I don't want to see them being like dragged down.
okay,
The people who are like actually like not these
like
criminal elements, but yeah,
like I said, it's not as bad as they're portraying it to you. What you're seeing on the media is not really what's going on,
I think the media hide
you
a
know.
lot. I agree there. I think they hide a lot of like
Well, they're only showing you the bad things that are happening. Everyday life right now, if I videotape my entire day going from Pennsylvania up into New York, nothing's happening. People are just living their life.
Pretty
You
Yeah.
know,
much. Yeah.
is there crime that happens? Yes, but that stuff
Yeah, of course.
happens anyway, and it was long before any of this happened. You know, it was long before any of these politics got into it. In fact, in a sense, because of everything that's happening, people are, for the most part, being more peaceful. People stop worrying about the gang banging and you know, stuff like that. You've had these little groups that popped up like Antifa and stuff,
But this is
but
the
they're
thing. If
not
America
everywhere.
if America descends into lawlessness over this, then those gang bangings and the crime that's already committed is just going to intensify. It's
Yes,
going to
but
be free reign.
it hasn't even begun.
America's
I
kind of
know,
like
and
brothers
I
and
think that.
sisters.
Yeah.
We fight amongst each other, but at one point in time, if somebody from another country is going to come over here and mess with us, we all build up together and we'll go back against them. You see what I'm saying? We can sit here and whine back and forth with each other all we want. It's like having a brother and a sister in a house. You know they're going to want to
See,
complain,
I
but
would
somebody from the
agree
outside
with
comes
that
in,
sentiment.
they're going to hand up with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd agree with that sentiment if it wasn't so racially charged, right? The civic society, if it wasn't so racially charged in
Over
the media
here,
these days,
it's the complete
then I
opposite.
think it's going to be different. I think it's going to end up being a free for all like they want on white privilege,
Only if
white
we
this,
let
stuff
it.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Only if
that's
we
not
let
how
it.
it is
Like
though. Like I live in
every
Texas, okay? We've got blacks, we've got whites, we've got Mexicans, and guess what? We are all one big happy jolly family. You don't see people going around beating each
oh, of
other up
course,
because of my color.
but
Yeah,
it
I'm
will be
white,
like
but
that.
I got friends that are
Unless they find out
of
what you
every
believe.
color.
But
well,
here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
Unless they
there's a
Here's
couple
the crux of the
neighborhoods I don't
argument.
want to
No,
go into.
sorry. Yeah. Here's the crux of the argument, right? You know, this is the thing, right? It's happening in my country as well, right? If white Americans, with the racially charged media that we've got now, right? This is just a pretext, the beginning of it, right? When white Americans become a minority in America, which they are, by statistics, and they are meant to become a minority by 2045, right? Once you become a minority, it becomes very hard for any kind of like civic society to kind of like push,
Sounds like
this.
we need to start fucking.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Well, yeah. There's that. You could also like close the Mexican border, please. Same with my country as well. Like we're demographically meant to become a minority by 2066, I believe. And even our school children, by 2037, half of school children in the UK will be non-British, right? Once you become a minority, it gets very hard, and all this media like language is just going to make it so that you become a hated minority, and that's what I worry about. I don't want like black people and white people fighting each other, right? But with the media the way they're going, it's going to be very, it's going to be reverse racism here, isn't it? You are going to be caught out because of the color of your skin. You're going to be the evil person, and you're going to like be demonized for it until you are, well, what, where does this end other than like the destruction of white America? And that's a sad thing, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want, same as I won't want to happen to black people in America or Hispanic people, right? We can integrate, there can be some like that, but we can't have like this media apparatus doing that, otherwise it will lead only in one way, won't it? It'll lead to just the destruction of like one group of people, and I don't think anyone here would want to see like, say, the white rhino disappear, right? Or the black rhino disappear, or the whatever color, right? No one wants to see anyone genocided or